The Biden administration pulling the plug on Secretary of State Blinken's planned trip to China just hours after the Pentagon revealed it had detected a Chinese surveillance balloon over Montana. So right now, this video was taken in Billings, Montana on Thursday, although it's not clear if this is the balloon in question. Obviously, there's the balloon. That was Secretary Blinken, who was supposed to leave tomorrow. That's now on hold. The U.S. has decided to monitor the balloon instead of shooting it down, even though it's apparently still gathering intelligence as we speak, a decision not sitting well with some Republicans.
This is the first time in my lifetime I've ever seen anything like this, and it's very disturbing to know that it's still up there in the air near our military installations. The time is now. Let's get this thing out of the air.
I want to bring in NBC's Courtney Kube. She broke this story. Jake Sherman, co-founder of Punchbowl News and an MSNBC political contributor. So, Courtney, I know this came up at the Pentagon briefing that wrapped up just a few minutes ago. Tell us, what did we learn, but what are also still the outstanding questions?
Yeah, so it dominated the Pentagon briefing, that's for sure. One of the big questions that I've been asking is, where is this balloon? We know, as you mentioned, that it was spotted over Billings, Montana. The Pentagon has acknowledged that. But yesterday, when I was asking about it, no one would talk about the exact location. So we learned a little bit more about that from Brigadier General Pat Ryder, the Pentagon spokesperson at the briefing. Here's what he had to say.
While we won't get into specifics in regards to the exact location, I can tell you that the balloon continues to move eastward and is currently over the center of the continental United States. Again, we currently assess that the balloon does not present a military or physical threat to people on the ground at this time, and we'll continue to continue to monitor and review options.
So why that's important is we know that it is still over the continental U.S. And in fact, it seems as if it's moved south and it's moving east. So it may actually be more in the center of the U.S. than it was when it was up in Montana. So one of the questions answered. The big question, though, that opens up is, where is it headed? And that's something that the Pentagon still does not want to talk to us about, where it could be headed. We do know that if it traverses eastward across the United States, it has the potential to move across several very important locations. When it was in Montana, it was near a U.S. Air Force base that hosts the Intercontinental Ballistic Missiles, a strategic base for the U.S. military. But if it traverses across the United States, moving east, it has the potential to move past many more bases like that. Now, a senior defense official I spoke with yesterday, when I asked, what can the U.S. do as they monitor it minute to minute, what can they do if they see that it is potentially going to a location that the U.S. doesn't want it to be surveilling? And obviously, they maintain the right to bring this balloon down. But in addition to that, they are taking some steps on the ground. Some things as simple as just moving things out of the sight of this surveillance drone. Remember, Chris, China has satellites that are already seeing a lot of these things. There's commercial satellites that can see some of these things anyway. The defense officials we've been speaking to about it say that the collection capabilities of this balloon are not that much more mature or significant than what China already has. But again, as it moves, if the Pentagon, if the military sees that, I think they will continue to assess any potential options and actions that they may take.
I mean, how much more fraught, how much more of an escalation, Courtney, would it be to even really come close, let alone decide to bring it down?
I think that what people have to remember is not only is this flying at a very, very high altitude, about 60,000 feet, so higher than commercial aviation, but it's believed to have a helium component to it, and it's enormous. So if we can see it from the ground and it's flying that high, think about how big it actually is in reality. That's one of the concerns here, is because it's so large, it could create this big debris field if it's blown up, if it comes down. And I think that's one of the major reasons, according to the defense officials who we're speaking to, that's one of the major reasons that they're concerned about bringing it down. But as you also mentioned, there's the enormous geopolitical implications of the U.S. shooting down or bringing down a Chinese asset, no matter where it is.